At a very young age, I was working out in gyms all the time. I always tell people, don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. They're just about to become great and then they just give up. What I see is a lot of people just try to follow workouts that they're watching from influencers or other people that they're inspired by or motivated by to get to where they want to be. And it's not the best thing for them because it's not customized and it's not systemized. Most people don't know how to do it correctly.
So many people get caught up in how many sets, how many reps, how long should I be doing cardio for? So where do you see is the biggest misconception in terms of athletes?
I think just athletes, people always think.
Welcome back to the Built Not Born podcast. I'm your host, Tom Mandile.
And I'm your co-host, Thomas Calabrese.
And this is a platform for coaches, athletes, players, and high performers. And with us today is somebody who is synonymous with a high performer. We have Brian Hernandez, owner VIP Fitness. Brian, thank you and welcome to the Built Not Born podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
To get us started, so Brian, tell us about your journey into VIP Fitness. So it didn't always start at VIP, correct?
No, it didn't. It didn't. It started, personal fitness started for me independently. I mean, I actually, at a very young age, at like age 14, I was working out in gyms all the time. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. There used to be a gym in North Bergen called Dumbbells.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I always lived in Ridgefield, but I grew up in North Bergen. So when my mother would work in the city, she would drive me to North Bergen because she would take the bus to work in the city. And then midday, I would have football practice in the evening. At that point, it was like rec football, but I was always involved. I always loved working out and being in the gym environment. So I would walk from 74th Street to 90-something Street in North Bergen, where the dumbbell gym was, and then work out. And then I would walk home back to Ridgefield, eat something, and then go to football practice.
And for all of our fitness gurus out there who don't know where Dumbbells is, it's where the White Castle is. So
yeah,
it was right next to the White Castle. Everybody knows White Castle in North Bergen.
It's a legendary spot, right?
Yeah.
Location.
So when you started VIP Fitness, what was your goal?
My goal, I mean, I started VIP Fitness. I actually purchased it. It was an existing business. And my goal was always to have a fitness center. It was always going to be, I don't know how or where or when, but the opportunity came and I found an existing personal training fitness business. We purchased it. My wife and I, Susie, purchased the gym about 20 years ago. And we got it started. And what we wanted to do was just make it thrive. And for the first year, basically, I was trying to mimic what the previous owner was doing. And then I just kept working. I mean, I was very young at the time. I was about 25 years old. So I was just working really hard, trying to just train people, sustain the business that I already had, and just trying to grow and just keep working, selling, and training.
Now, Brian, you and I have a unique relationship because I remember you and I played against each other back in high school. So
football.
You were in Richfield. I know Pal Park.
We were big rivals.
Shout out, we were big rivals back then before now Richfield obviously plays with Cliffside. But I want to kind of just talk about the landscape of sports and the angles that you've seen it change, not only from when you played, but more recently, well, I say recently, the last 20 years, kind of how you've seen how sports have progressed in terms of the workouts and the fitness routines and the conversation you and I have had over the last couple of years. So just talk about that, how you've seen that change.
Well, I mean, right now we're in like the technology boom era. I mean, with AI, the internet, YouTube, I mean, all the information for working out and getting the best results are out there. But most people don't know how to do it correctly. I mean, they'll try to follow something because they're motivated, but they don't have a system in place. And the system is the most important thing to getting the results. So what I see is a lot of people just try to follow workouts that they're watching from influencers or other people that they're inspired by or motivated by to get to where they want to be. And it's not the best thing for them because it's not customized and it's not systemized for their specific needs.
That makes a lot of sense. So you're saying that a lot of our athletes out there, and you could speak as an athlete yourself, now have you ever seen something on social media where you thought that would work for you, or do you only follow what you're...
Yeah, like I've seen some gym social media influencers like post on like Instagram and TikTok about like their splits and what exercises they do and how they eat. And sometimes I try to incorporate it in my life, but honestly, you got to just do what's best for you and what's best for your body and how you're going to recover from each workout. So my workout style might be different than your workout style. Your workout style might be different than Brian's. So everybody's different. You just gotta follow your own body, you know?
Now, Brian, you're talking about the system. So now you put those systems in place for these athletes and for your clients.
Correct. I mean, of course, we're a professional business, so our process is very diagnostic and then prescriptive. So somebody comes in with a problem. I mean, I'm talking mainly adults. We do work with kids, but they're usually adults, right? That are professionals, usually people over the age of 40 that are just needing to manage their fitness. They're out of shape. They're starting to develop health ailments. They're developing high blood pressure. They're developing aches and pains, low drive, no motivation, and a lot of it comes to not having a good fitness program or having good condition. They don't have proper amounts of muscle tone for their body type because they don't really know what to do, or they go back into fitness programs and they go back when they were athletes and they try to follow what they were doing when they were playing sports, and it doesn't work at this point in their life. The systems are the prescribed routines that we give to people based on where they are at their current fitness level and their specific body composition development.
What about this specific sport too?
Yeah, specific sport too. Of course. So, what do you mean for athletes?
Yeah. So say like if you have a football player and a basketball player, like how would you work them out differently?
Well, it depends on the time of the part of the season, but depending on the sport and what first we assess them with a body diagnostic. We do a scan. We see where they have muscle deficiency, where they have muscle strength, and the first goal is just to balance everything. That right there minimizes injuries tremendously. After that's done, after you get to that point, then you do sport-specific style training for that athlete. I mean, that's research. So, I mean, if you're a football player, you're going to be doing more explosive stuff. If you're a basketball player, probably be some explosiveness, but agility and more conditioning.
Yeah.
Again, first thing is just balancing the body, making sure that everything's proportioned. A lot of people walk around with imbalancements, and that's why they get injured.
I think that's huge for our viewers and our listeners out there, but especially for our athletes who, they always want to try to get a leg up and a step up in the athletic world. But you're saying you got to kind of break it down from the foundation first. Now, what tests are you speaking about? How can they? What do you do to assess an athlete's overall?
An athlete or just a general person, when we do an in-body test or a body composition test, gives us their body's layout. So if their muscles are not symmetrical to each other, a lot of times you find a lot of athletes have overdeveloped calves, and then by having overdeveloped calves, they underdevelop their glutes, their quads, and then long term that turns into an injury because there's going to be too much wear and tear. So the calves over respond, glutes under respond, quads get tight because they're compensating from the glutes being weak and the quads being weak, and then an injury will happen or a setback will happen. Or somebody that was really good at sports stop working out for many years and they go back into athletics, they jump back into like group workouts. What happens is those old muscles that were in good condition from playing sports, they have muscle memory, they over respond, the weak muscles lock, and then they hit a plateau or get hurt and get set back. So it's very important to find out what your imbalancements are, fix that, and then build on that foundation. It's like working on an old house. Not saying that we're all old, but if the layout is not right, you're not going to put weight on top of it until you fix it. You fix the foundation, you balance it out, and then you build up on it. People always focus on the end result. That's what they want. They want what gives them that dopamine rush or the endorphin rush.
They want the quick results.
Yeah, the quick results. They see the finished product, but it's really like it starts from the balancing portion of it.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
What's more important for a young athlete's health? Is it focusing more on their diet or focusing more on the way that they work out and how much they work out?
They're both important, but obviously the diet starts first. You have that automatically by default. So making good food choices will help you perform better. So I would start with the diet and then focus on the activity.
So what would you tell a kid who's trying to gain more muscle, like what to eat and stuff?
What to eat? First off, make sure that they have no medical issues. Like, I mean, I can't really give medical advice, but they should get themselves, speak to a doctor. And if the doctor feels that they need to get nutritional guidance through a nutritionist, do that. But it's usually eating high protein, wholesome, complete foods. Foods that if your great-grandparents didn't recognize it back in the day, they shouldn't be eating it. So more wholesome, natural things.
Yeah.
Protein is key, especially animal source-based proteins. They're better for regenerating because they're essential. So eggs, chicken breast, beef.
What have you seen has been the biggest misconception in athletes? Because you obviously are a father of 2 athletes yourself, and obviously owning a gym for so long and seeing so many people come in and train. What do you think is the biggest misconception that a lot of people have in terms of workouts, right? Whether it's overtraining or undertraining or, not enough of this, too much of that. I think so many people get caught up in how many sets, how many reps, how long should I be doing cardio for? So where do you see is the biggest misconception in terms of athletes?
I think just athletes, like, people always think it's motivation and talent, but it's really, again, it goes back to systems. I know it's boring, but doing what you need to do when you don't want to do it, having it laid out and just doing it will give you that end result. So a lot of people just feel that, I mean, they're motivated. They try to do things that make them shine, like whoever's being their role model, whoever they're following. And it's not the best thing for them. It's really talking to a coach that could assess them, give them advice, give them a program, and following it, and do it when you don't want to do it, because
That's
that's the key. What
oh,
happens behind the scenes, what
yeah.
happens when people are not watching, makes a difference. Like, usually, I mean, with kids, like, they tend to they follow what they see, not what they're told. So if you're a parent, you're a mentor, and you're telling a kid to do something, from my experience, and you're not doing it yourself, you're not living that lifestyle, they're probably not going to do it. You
Yeah.
know,
So it's kind of
it's
it's muscle memory almost.
well, muscle memory, and also like watching what you're like following like the right stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, so for building better athletes, how have young athletes changed over the past 20 years?
Well, they have access to a lot of information out there. So if you follow some of this information,
And
and
there are a lot more gyms around too.
more gyms,
Yeah.
supplements, there's
A lot more
more
information.
programs, there's technology.
Yeah.
I mean, it works. You have to follow it, but you just have to make sure you're doing the right thing. I mean, that technology could be your system. If it's the right system and you're following that technology could hold you accountable.
Yeah.
But in my business, it's service based. We have people actually doing it. So a lot of times people they will make an appointment for themselves and they let themselves down. But if they have an appointment with a trainer, they don't let themselves down. They show up for the trainer, not for themselves. And then in the end, they get compounded benefits, and that's why it works. So that's one of the success things of my business, is that it's the accountability. It's not that we're like the biggest gym. It's not like we have the best equipment. It's just that we hold people accountable. They show up and then they do it because they have to be held accountable by somebody or
And
something.
I think that's one of the biggest themes for this podcast is about accountability and resiliency and adversity, about how do you hold yourself accountable? How do you hold other people accountable? So you're saying by them signing up for your gym that you're basically holding them accountable. That they're paying
They're paying to meet a trainer at a certain time. They have an appointment. They show up for the appointment. But if they make an appointment for themselves, they'll blow themselves off. Happens all the time. Doesn't matter. All different levels. People have customers that are multi-millionaires and make hundreds of millions of dollars, to like average people that, are like in the middle class range. And it's the same thing. They need that accountability. They need to just automate it, and they show up.
To switch gears a little bit in terms of like parenting with the athletes, what's the biggest piece of advice you feel you could offer parents for athletes, right? Seeing so many kids over the years now, whether it's through training, through your sons, right? What's one thing you could offer to those parents, to our viewers and our listeners out there, to really help those athletes, male or female, get a leg up on the competition?
Lead by example. I mean, if you're telling your kid to do something and you're not doing it, they're not going to listen. At the end of the day, kids eventually, you need to follow a role model. I mean, your parents are a role model. If there's no parent figure, you have to find a better role model to follow, and you follow. You just have to follow. That's what kids learn by following. They learn by example, not by being told what has to be done.
I think that was very telling. I think a couple years ago when your oldest son came into the program, and I guess ritual flooded, and you had sent me a video of, you got water knee high up in your basement. You
Yeah.
said, and the boys are still down there box squatting, and you're there working out with them. But again, like, circumstance doesn't change responsibility, right?
It doesn't. I mean, my son, he probably gets that a little bit from me, because that's kind of my personality, and that's what I try to ingrain into him, is that character.
So our viewers
Like,
and listeners, even if your house is flooded, you could still get a
you
workout.
can
in.
still get a
Or
workout.
The water's going to recede at some point. That workout's got to go. So
I mean, 2 feet of water and stop him. He was at practice. We were there, and he still got his workout in. You could control you only focus on what you could control, not what you can't control.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like, the flooding happened, it was done. The damage is. What are we gonna do? Like, that's why that doesn't give us an excuse not to do anything else. Like, we have to work around it. Well, that's where a lot of people, they just tend to like give up too soon.
No, and that's great advice for life in general.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
again,
it's a great skill. Like,
life's going to happen, but again,
Like-
it's what you do when adversity hits. That's going to ultimately tell who you are as a person.
I feel people give up too soon. Too soon. Like, people should never ever give up. You got to keep pushing, and you just course correct. It's better just take action, do something, even if it's incorrect, you just course correct and you just keep doing it over and over. I mean, it's not the best way, but it's effective and it works.
Yeah.
So if you have no other means of doing it, just keep taking action until you get it. I mean, you will get it.
How do you keep your clients and your family motivated to where they have such a good work ethic?
We hold them accountable to making an appointment, and we make them do it whether they want to do it or not. And then in the beginning, they come in a negative mindset, and then they leave with a positive mindset. And when they leave, they have more dopamine, they have more serotonin, their body feels good, and they're like, you know what, thank God I did this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done this.
And for your sons, were they always born with like such a good work ethic, or did they get that from you? Or
No, it took a while. They weren't. I mean, they're kids just like everything else. I mean, the biggest turning point that probably affected us the most was the pandemic. Like when that happened, that was like
same thing for me
that's
too.
that screwed up a lot of things. It broke the flow. But then after a couple of months, we were like, you know what, we got to like turn this around.
Yeah.
I brought the gym into our I mean, luckily I own multiple facilities and I have a lot of equipment. I was able to bring it into the house.
Yeah.
And I forced the kids. I mean, that's part of our thing. We actually started filming workouts during the pandemic because we couldn't operate and just give everybody free workouts and people would just follow. We did Facebook Lives. And I believe in the law of reciprocity. That helped me now. I mean, I wasn't even getting paid for it. I was just running around giving equipment to clients or to past clients so they had something to work out with. And then we were just broadcasting live workouts in our living room.
Yeah. Like the pandemic for a lot of people, some people like use the pandemic in a negative way where they got out of shape, they gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But for me and like for your kids, I tried taking advantage of the pandemic because I was in 6th grade when the pandemic started, and I was like really out of shape for a 6th grader, and I used that whole pandemic to just grind and get more motivated and have a better work ethic to where I get to end of middle school, going into high school, I was like ready and I was adjusted, my body physically, mentally, all that. So I think COVID for some people, they should have worked harder and they should have changed their habits then. But for a lot of people like me and your sons, we changed it then, which was a really smart and, it helped us in the long run.
Well, I feel like that's a perfect good opportunity for me to like go into forming an example for kids. So like that happened to a lot of people. My wife Susie, she's also in phys ed. She's involved with physical activity. So she brings that into the house. So I'm lucky and blessed to have that as well. But what we did was we started doing workouts in the house. Like we made our living room into a recording studio and we were doing like Facebook Lives. Our kids were watching us do this. They're like, what are you doing? Like, while they're on the screen playing video games, they saw us working out in the house. And I really feel that, thank God for the pandemic, that was like a turning point for our kids. I mean, our kids were always involved in sports, but again, they were kids and they were even slightly overweight, like prior to that and during the pandemic. But that was a turning point. Once that happened and they saw that, I feel like they matured and they both changed. First, it started with my older son, Kevin, and then my younger son, Joseph, followed.
I think a lot of kids become products of their environment. It's how where you
Yeah.
spoke about that, about
100%.
with your parents and your father and watching him and even talking about routine and regimen, right?
Yeah.
How he wakes up at 4:30 and then
It just
you-
motivates you and it makes you want to be like them because, like, they're your role models. They're the ones who have taught you since you were born, so you want to follow in their footsteps. So whatever they do, you just kind of, want to try and mimic them.
And now, Brian, I want to switch gears a little bit here. So, with you, from not only from like the athletic side of it and the sports side of it, but you as a business owner, right? So that's a lot of time. You're putting a lot of time into building this business. Now, how do you manage that? How do you manage being a father, being a husband, being a business owner? So, for all of our viewers and listeners out there, right? For like the sports side of it is phenomenal and the training you're doing. But now, how do you balance that? How do you wear so many hats and then still manage to maintain a certain level of productivity on all three fronts? Where because you have three children, correct? 2 boys and a daughter,
Yeah.
and obviously a husband. You own a business, so it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I always tell people, don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. So I focus on developing more skills. So skills are important. So I adapt. I'm very adaptable. I like challenges and I try to balance it to the best of my ability by just leveraging myself by being very resourceful. I think in different ways sometimes. I think, how can this work out? All right, my son has football practice, my daughter has to go to swim, my wife is coming home from work. How can I balance this out? I mean, luckily I'm at a point where I can make myself available. I can leave work because I kind of make my own schedule at this point in my life. I mean, to a certain degree, pick up my daughter, take my kids to sports. They're playing their sports. And then, spend time with my daughter, come back, pick up my kids, come back home, spend time there, and then like leverage myself. If the day requires me to go back to work, I have to go back to work because it's business. But I make sure that I give everybody as much possible time as possible. I mean, sometimes more or less. It just depends, you know.
How hard is it to manage your time as a father and a business owner
It
nowadays?
it's challenging, but like my personality type is like I never give up.
Mm.
I just consistently am relentless with that. I'll just keep doing it and doing it. I mean, I hold a lot of things inside. I don't break down. I just keep pushing through because I'm motivated. I mean, my family is like my biggest pride and joy, like my
Of
business,
course.
health, all that together. So that's a motivating factor for me personally.
Now, not to dive too deep or get too personal here, but again, a lot of the themes on this podcast is about mental resiliency, not only physical, right, but mental adversity. So, have you had a moment in your life where you really, felt you had a battle mentally, right, where at times might have been tough, whether it was, whether it was with the business, whether it was the family.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to go back to it again, but during the pandemic, I mean, I had 3 gyms at the time, and the reason I had 3, I was expanding out of 1 and moving into a second one, so I was having 2 locations, and all of a sudden, everything got shut off. My cash flow got shut off. Like, I mean, I was at a point where customers wanted to pay me, and I couldn't accept the money because the credit card companies consider that a high risk charge. So I lost all my cash flow. I had all this overhead. I felt like useless at this point. And I'm like, what could how could I provide? The only way I know how to provide is doing what I'm doing. I can't do anything else. Everything was frozen. So I just got resourceful. Like I said, I just said like, what could I do? If I can't help myself, what I always tell people is, and it always works. If you can't help yourself, help somebody else around you, and then it comes back to you. It's a universal law. I can't explain it. It works. And I kind of selfishly do that because I always get tenfold. Like, I'll just be like, "All right, I can't think of anything else to do for myself. I'm, like, stuck. Let me just go help somebody else." If there's an opportunity where I could give that little bit of time because I can't give to myself, I give it to that person, and then 45 minutes, an hour later, something works out my way. I mean, I don't
I,
understand, but
I think that's so amazing that you just
it's
said that for our viewers and listeners. If everybody in the world, which sounds crazy to say, but if everybody could just kind of adopt that same mindset, where if you can't help yourself, go help somebody else. Right? Think about how amazing it would be as a society if people kind of
and
just did that.
and
Don't feel. So you're saying
and
don't feel sorry for yourself.
yo
Go help somebody else.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I always look for opportunities. There's an opportunity I could give positivity to that person. Even if it's not coming from him, it's going to come from somebody else. And then down the line, he's going to return it. It's just a law of reciprocity. It's
Mhm.
kind of what we did during the pandemic. We were giving free workouts. We were driving around, giving dumbbells to people, lending it to people, helping people out because everybody was scared. Everybody was stuck. And I wanted to keep the whole fitness thing going with everybody. And it made me feel like I had a purpose. So that was my drive, and my drive is to service the community, help people. That's how I make a living. I mean, it's like, help enough people get what they want, and you'll get what you want. I mean, it works. I don't know.
That's
I can't explain the science, but I practice it, and it's worked for me, and it just baffles me every time.
that's amazing.
You
Pay,
know,
pay, pay it forward. I like.
you get it back.
Yep.
Help enough people get what they want, and you'll get what you want.
What's one lesson from your own athletic career that you still use to this day, every day?
I would just say like just staying consistent with what I like the end game. Even if it's not there, I can't, like people are doubting that it's going to happen. It just keep pushing. You end up getting it. I mean, I don't know how I was going to buy a business at 25 and it happened, but I knew that that was my purpose. And I knew that if I trained enough people and I put myself in the right places, it was going to come. It's the same thing I would do with athletics.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my main sport was football. I mean, it was just weight training and football. That's all I really played for
What
sports.
made you wanna be a fitness trainer and wanna what made you wanna go into fitness and then become a fitness trainer?
Since at the age of like 13 or 14, I grew up in gyms. I was always in gyms. Like as a young child, I was always helping people. I was spotting people. That's how it started. Hey, could you help me with a spot? And I mean, I was young and I was always around older people. I mean, older was like if I'm 13, 14, I'm spotting 20-year-old. I consider that older. I mean, you're like a little kid, right?
Yeah.
It was like an organic thing, and then I was pushed into it. Like my mother said, like, you should definitely get into training. It's a good thing for you prior to going to college. Like, and she helped me get certified, and
Mhm.
and that's what I did. And then I just started training people. And then
What'd you go to college for exercise?
first I went to King University for physical therapy. I didn't like it. Then I switched to Bergen, and then I moved to Montclair for nutrition. I actually did not graduate. I need like about 6 credits to graduate. I bought the business, and I was overwhelmed. But at the same time, Susie was in college with me, and the way we worked that out was she helped me with the business the first year while she was still in school getting her phys ed degree. She completed school, and I just said, I'm like, what am I going to go back to school right now at this point if this is what I'm going to school for? I mean, at some point, I'll go back and get those 6 credits. I have to take a Spanish class and a communication class, and I'll graduate.
Well, like you said, I mean,
I mean,
you've helped so many people. Maybe somebody will say, hey, Brian, hey, coach, I'll take those classes for you.
yeah, no, maybe I could outsource that somehow, some way.
That's
But I have to go back for that, and I'll get my degree. But I mean, I've taken every course for food science. I've fulfilled everything. When I was in Kane, I was in the physical therapy. It was in my, I mean, I was helping people, but I didn't get the same satisfaction.
And now I want you to talk to all those fitness enthusiasts out there, the trainers, people who just love sports and nutrition and the whole science behind it. What advice would you give to them? Like if they want to open up their own gym, not to give out your secrets or kind of your recipe for success, but what could you tell them to help them put them in a better situation?
Well, I mean, since they already love what they do, just keep pushing, and you'll get what you want. You'll just course correct. I guess that's the best. I guess I don't know if it's like a real word, but you course correct your action. So if you love what you're doing and you want to be in the fitness business, and unfortunately you have to take another career, you could still work part-time as a trainer. You could still work independently until eventually, if it's really worth your time, you can make it into your own business. I mean, that's kind of like that's the route that I went. And I've seen other people in the fitness business go. If you love what you're doing, you probably won't give up. It's just a lot of times people just give up too quickly. They're just about to become great, and then they just give up. That's what I always tell my kids. Like, don't ever give up. I mean,
Yeah, and that's the one thing we always
in anything.
we try to
Yeah.
try to resonate as well. Coach myself that whatever you start, you finish.
Yeah.
Right? Like you
Never,
don't give up. Like,
ever
you may
give up.
decide not to do that sport again, or you may decide not to do whatever and be X, Y, and Z again. But when you start something, you finish it. So that's very talented. Because that becomes your mindset, right? Because now it's like when you start a workout program, if I'm going to go into VIP fitness and I'm going to purchase a certain amount of sessions, I'm going to finish those sessions, right? What do you think is the biggest reason why a lot of people stop working out, right? I know like New Year's, and not to get off track here, but
Okay.
what really you think helps keep people with their mindset motivated?
What, after working with a trainer?
Well, just in general,
Well-
right? So the first part is getting into the gym and
Well,
making that conscious decision.
yeah.
I want to change my body.
Well, they focus on motivation, and motivation doesn't last. It's not the same thing as like a mindset, like a characteristic or trait of being disciplined. Like discipline with motivation is unstoppable, but a lot of people just work off of motivation, and that's what triggers the movement to first walk into a workout program, sign up with a trainer, or do something. But inside their mind, they haven't fixed their mindset. So, I mean, a good coach could help bring that out of somebody and teach them that skill. I mean, that's one of the best life skills, is that discipline skill.
Yeah.
And never giving up. Like, you know what I mean? Because you know that at the end, you're going to get a big prize. There's going to be an award, and you're going to get what makes you truly happy.
Discipline is literally never giving up. When you don't want to do something, you just got to keep continuing to do it. Put your head down, just keep on going. And that's like, I try to stay as disciplined as possible. And coach is one of the most disciplined, people I've ever met in my life. So
And again, I'm kind of the same ilk as you. I just try to lead by example and lead, through my systems. Right, my systems. I'm going to wake up at a certain time. I'm going to make sure that my athletes, my players are doing certain things at certain times and creating systems for them. But again, to me, it's hard for me to practice something if I'm not. I would preach something if I'm not going to practice it. So
So you definitely practice it. I mean, I help you, coach, with some of the strength training, and I hear the back talk of all the players that, like, they respect you because you walk the walk. You know what I mean? You're fit. You run. You could do anything with them. Like, and that's the difference. You got to be responsible. People are not responsible enough. They don't take responsibility. I mean, I take responsibility more than I even should. Even if something happens around me, it's technically not my fault. I'll just say I'm responsible. I actually could live better with myself, and usually it fixes the problem.
And again,
Like-
I think some of the lessons and some of the things that you're saying here today, Brian, are just awesome in terms of, from the sports angle, but also from the life angle, right?
Yeah.
Taking accountability, being responsible, helping other people, right? If you can't help yourself, go help somebody else. And I think that message would resonate so powerfully to not only parents, to coaches, to athletes, to everybody. I mean, that's amazing. And you're seeing it from all different angles. You're seeing it from a parent's perspective, from a father perspective, right? From a business owner perspective. I mean, I think that's really, really telling and powerful coming from you. Now, I want to kind of switch gears again a little bit here and kind of talk about the athletes, right? If you had to give advice to an athlete coming into a football program, like somebody who's starting off as a freshman, and they have no workout experience, right? Because again, as a coach, I see that often where we have our student athletes who come in and they're not used to lifting weights, right? They're coming in now, they got to buy into this workout program, right? What advice would you give to not only the athlete, him or herself, but also to their parents?
I mean, to the athlete, I mean, I would just tell them to ask, right? Ask your coaches, ask your upperclassmen. Just ask. Don't be scared to ask. You don't know. There's so much you get by asking. Um, the parents, I mean, I would encourage the parents, if they're not active, to lead by example. I mean, it goes back to that, because once the parents start doing it, then the kids start doing it. Even if they're not doing it initially, they'll retaliate. They eventually will, because like they're almost feeling like parents are hypocrites. They're telling them to do one thing and they're doing the opposite. They're like, this can't be real. They think this is like a joke. So, I mean, I would just tell a kid to ask, like ask upperclassmen, ask the coaches, ask me for in our situation in
Absolutely.
Cliffside and Richfield combined, and you'll get help. I mean, that's how I learned. And then you also have, you could ask, and then you have so much resource out there. There's like YouTube, there's AI, there's Google. I mean, you could also look it up and match it till you eventually get it and come back with questions and ask. I mean,
And I want to touch on that because you and I have had many conversations about AI and the whole landscape of workouts and how it's changed now. How you could train clients that are down in Florida and across the country because of not only AI,
Yeah.
but because of all these online tutorials and the platform that you use at VIP. Just kind of talk about the landscape of fitness and how it could help not only individuals and parents, but athletes alike. About the importance of like what AI is doing for the fitness world.
well, you can't improve what you don't track. So if you're tracking what you're doing and you're providing the right information into these platforms, you'll get accurate guidance or accurate coaching. But you just have to make sure that you're providing everything into it accurately. So how it helps me, I have softwares that I send to clients where they track their workouts, and as long as they're putting the right information in, when that information comes back, I could work that through AI and get exact progressive overloads that I could tell the client to do in the future. Progressive overload just means like it's a fancy word to saying how much extra resistance do you increase, how many extra repetitions you increase in the next workout. But it's all based on what already happened. So if you're not tracking it, you really can't improve it. That's how it makes things happen faster. I mean, and it brings the information out there faster.
Yeah.
So it's all about speed. So once you've got mastery and then you're applying all these speed things, it makes everything work faster.
Would you say, would you
And
adopt like the time is money?
well, time is money. Yeah, I mean, and everybody's learning everything off a platform, off of a screen. Like the days of like writing things down are gone. I mean, everybody's gonna eventually probably just have an iPad, an iPhone, a computer. It's not going to be through paper. It's going to be all through screen. So you have to adapt, like anything else. So
Now, has AI affected your business? Because you're talking about, watching
Yeah.
videos and seeing this, but you're talking about the one-on-one coaching
Mhm.
and trainers. So
what?
how do you see
How
that,
do
that
I?
changing the
How do I
landscape
see it?
of
Well,
sports?
I see a lot of people reverting to it, and they're questioning things through AI, and then sometimes it's legitimate questions that they have, and sometimes they put information incorrectly, and they're not, or they're leaving out details, and they're getting like responses that aren't super accurate. But no, it's good. I mean, it helps me a lot. It helps me get organized. It puts everything in organ. It saves me a lot of time, so I could focus more on coaching or more with the one-on-one experience. So a lot of things that take time are sped up with AI.
And that's amazing, especially obviously.
The whole world is pivoting to AI.
Yeah.
How could you not be on it? It's like saying like using the internet and not having the internet.
It's kind
Going from a flip
keep-
phone to an iPhone.
keeping up with the times. So
What 100%. You can't be intimidated by it. You have to work with it.
yeah, I know. I know. Again, this is a sports platform. We really haven't gone into AI. We're not going to touch too much on it, but just in terms of the landscape of sports and how it could help you with our athletes and even with the mindset. And just,
Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, I don't use it at this level yet, but you could record somebody, look at their form, and the AI could analyze it and tell you what's probably deficient in their body. It could analyze their body composition result and then analyze the movement, and then come out with a pretty good program that needs to be implemented still with a person. I mean, because again, the information is out there, but if you don't have somebody to hold you accountable, you're still not going to do it. You could do anything with it. I mean, all the information is out there to do anything. It's just like, are you going to do it correctly? Are you going to hold yourself accountable? But it solves that.
and that's the big word, accountability. So we always have a segment here, and again, Brian, thank you for sharing all that
Sure.
information. I mean, we touched on a lot of different topics. I mean, you spoke from from the father perspective, from the business owner's perspective, from the sports angle, from AI. I mean, we covered a lot right there. From doing workouts while your basement is flooded, like, like that circumstance doesn't change responsibility.
Warp
So,
speed.
so yeah, warp speed. So that was amazing. So speaking of warp speed, we always do a little segment here called
Okay.
rapid fire questions. So
Go.
Thomas,
All right. First thing, strength training or conditioning, but like long term. So-
Strength training.
Okay.
early mornings or late nights?
It depends on your lifestyle. It depends on what's better for you. Whatever makes you do.
For you.
Oh, for me personally, evenings.
All right.
Well, it depends. I do cardio in the morning, resistance in the evening. That's ideal, but
Coaching kids or coaching adults?
adults.
Motivation or discipline?
Discipline,
Group training or one-on-one coaching?
one-on-one. For me though,
Protein shakes or real meals?
it depends what type. That's a broad question.
Well, your grandfather's food, like you mentioned.
It depends, but probably real food.
Okay.
Stretching or foam rolling to warm up?
Myofascial release or stretching. I would say stretching because it hits more parts. I mean, they're both good and they both do something different.
Process or results?
Well, I'd rather just get you the results and teach you how to maintain the results.
Okay.
But if you want to go, I would say process. Well, not process because you don't have to do the same process.
Well, because would you rather, like, so some people, for example, and I think this is important, some people want to see the results, but they don't understand how they got there, right? Like, they're like, hey, listen, I did this. I
Well,
did that.
it's okay. Most of my clients, we actually just get them there and then teach them how to preserve it, and then they just need to learn how to maintain it. Because whatever you have to do to get there, you don't have to do it again. You just have to now change your mindset and just do the activities.
Good.
Meal prep or eating out?
Meal prep.
Apple Watch or no fitness tracker?
Right now, I'm currently using an Apple Watch just to track my steps because I wasn't getting enough steps.
Coffee or pre-workout?
Coffee,
Books or a podcast?
podcast,
And lastly, last question, progress or perfection?
progress.
Excellent. Well, Brian, we thank you again for coming
Yeah,
on the
Brian.
Built 91 podcast. And again,
course.
so much information that you told today. We're so telling and so informational for our audience. And again, we thank you so much. And obviously, again, on a personal level, thank you for everything you're doing with the sports programs, for myself as a coach as well. So thank you so much, Brian.
Of course. Thank you for having me.